Now let's see how to create users, how to create groups, and see how groups are, assigned to a particular user, or how to remove user and different operations, right? So let's get started. First, let us go through all the users we have. So to list all the users, we could use cat. So what we are doing here is we are just uh, outputting the data from a file. So this group particular file has all the details about the group that contains in the system, right? These are all the groups as you could see, right? So what does this signify, right? If I just take an example, this, right? This is the one I have created earlier. So test, this is the name of the group, and X, this signifies the password is stored in a shadow file, right? Earlier password was directly saved and here it used to display, but nowadays it's being stored in the shadows files and X is displayed in that place. 1001 is the group ID that's assigned to this particular group, and test user, it signifies that this particular user is part of this group. All right, so this is how you see the groups, and there is one more alternative command to view it. You could simply say getInt, right, and you say group. This will give you the same output. All right, and next we want to see the users. So similarly, we could say cat etc pass wd, and these are all the users, right? So these are all the users within the system, and if you see here, this is the username, and again this is the password that's stored in the shadow file. 1001 is the group ID, 1002 is the user ID, and this is the home location of that user, and bin/sh. This is the default shell that's used for this user, right? Similarly, as we have done for users, sorry, groups, you could do it for users as well. So you could simply say getIn, sorry, it's password, right? So this is the command to view the users. All right. So we have seen how to list the users and how to list the groups, right? Now let's see what group this particular user, the user, right? You could use who am I to know the current user. So Ubuntu is my current user. To know which group it is part of, you could simply type groups and hit enter, right? So Ubuntu is part of all these groups, right? So that's how you do it. And if you want to see the user details, you can simply say ID, and you will get this is the group ID, this is the group ID for this ADM group, right? Now let's see how to create users, how to create groups, and how to assign each user to a particular group, right? So let's get started. So sudo, you should log in as root user in order to execute these commands. So you could say group add, what group you want to add. So I will say some sample group, right? So if you want to verify if the group is created or not, getInt group, sorry, getInt group. See, right, sample group is created and ID is 1003. And now we have to create a user. So let's say sudo user add hyphen m hyphen g. What group do I want him to add to? Sample group. And what is the username? I will give my username sympathetic. Alright, so it's been executed. And now let's see if that's been created or not. GetInt. You see, sympathetic. Alright, this is the group ID, this is the user ID, this is the home directory, and this is the default shell, right? So if you want to check the default home directory, you could say what directory I am in. You can use pwd. I am in this home/ubuntu directory. So if you want to check if that self-package has been created, you could go back to parent directory and see, right, self-package. So this is the home directory of that particular user. All right. We would want to verify if that user, I mean, the user has been created. There is one more way, ID. Well, just like we want to fetch the ID of the current user, we could say ID space. What is the user? My techie, right? So this is the user ID, unique identifier. All right. This is the group identifier. These are the other groups that it's part of, right? And if I want to verify the groups, which group the user is part of, you could say group space set by techie. So set by techie is part of the sample group. All right. Now we have created the user, but how does he log in? We just require a password, right? So how do you change the password? You could say sudo password username. So you want to just give a password, give a password. You can't see the password, so password has been updated successfully. All right. Now I have to verify if it's working or not, right? So let's just verify that. So how do I verify it? So from my Windows PowerShell, I could say SSH space the user ID I have just created at the rate the IP of the machine, public IP, right? So hit enter. So it's asking for my password. So type in the password we have created, right? So you have logged in. If I say pwd, let's see, right? Home set by key. So this is how you create a user and access it using a password. If you want to change the password, you could use the same command, password, and you could give the current password, and you could give a new password, hit enter. So you're saying you must use a longer password, so I will just avoid for it now. You could give a longer password and change it. Now that we have created users and groups, we can't just always scroll down all the output, right? We can't just go to this and say group, and I don't want to scroll down all of this to find just the set by the key or the sample group, right? So how do I search? So you could say grep. So this is the command to use for pattern search. So I will say set by key space. Where do I want to search? Group, right? So it has given me which part is this group of, right? The set by key user is part of the sample group. Just ignore this particular output because it depends upon configuration of each Ubuntu machine. So ideally this shouldn't have been displayed in the group section. This is just a user and it's not a group. Alright. So next, if I want to search for a group name, similarly you could use group and say test. Let's see if it outputs anything. So yes, test is a group, right? So yep, it has identified the results and has outputted me the results. Alright. So I want to search for the user in a group, right? We have searched for user in all the users and we have searched for group in all the groups. Now I want to search for users in a group. So I will say search, and what is the group I want to give? Sample group. It's just like if the particular user is part of that group or not, right? So group name, where do I want to search for, right? I will say cut. Since this is a pattern, we will take a fourth one, right? So in this particular group, we are just fetching all the users set by taking, right? This particular user is part of this group. All right. Now we have seen how to search, how to create, how to, you know, change the passwords. So now let's go ahead and delete these users. So now let's see how to delete a user, right? So you could use sudo user delete. I want to delete test user. All right. So it's been executed, and let us see if the test user executes. So there is no test user, right? All right. So there is one more option or one more way to create a user along with the group. So if I say sudo add user space, I want to say I want to create this user, right? So what it is saying, it is creating a user, adding new group, or all right. So it is creating the group and adding the user to that particular group, and it's creating the home directory, right? And some additional files it needs to copy. So I will give a sample password. All right, password has been updated. So I will say Tiki room number or something, phone one. If you hit enter, it will take the default value, which is empty. So I'll give all this. Is the information correct? Yes. Right. So if I say current, sorry, password, you could see, right? Is my user ID. So this is my username, user ID, group ID, and the information, right? All the information that's related to me, and this is the home directory, and this is the default script or default shell that will be used for this particular user. So this is how you can, you know, create a group or create group along with the user. All right. So there are additional commands that we have used here, like grep cat, right? So this we have discussed already in the Linux basics of another video. I'll put the link in the description. You can go ahead and view it. And along with that, all the commands that we have used in this video will also be provided in the description with a GitHub link. So yep, see you soon.